Hey, everybody, and welcome to our very first episode of Hardcore Heroes Arcadia. Nick, how are you doing today, man? Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. If you die right now, what am I going to do with everyone else? Um, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what Hardcore Heroes Arcadia is. If you didn't catch the last episode of Hardcore Heroes, some... Are you muted? How the hell are you muted? God damn it, do we have to start over I think we do. Oh, for the love of God, where are things? Okay. All right, let's sort this out. Shit. It was too good to be true. All right. Try saying something.
Hello.
Oh, boom. Perfect. Okay. We're going to go back to the splash page. You guys never saw this. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Hardcore Heroes Arcadia. Nick, how are you doing today?
Feeling good. A little bit nervous, which is weird because we've been doing this for over a year now, but feel like there's a little bit more pressure on me now than there was before. That's all right.
Yeah, well, you don't have your friendly tanks to keep all the damage away from you.
Yeah, not even that. Like you can't have as much dead time when it's just
That's true.
it's
You
only
have
you,
to
right?
be on point. It is up to you to make everything happen.
Exactly.
Can't let Van do all the work anymore.
That's right. But no, feeling pretty good. Apart from that,
Cool. So let's take a moment and talk about what Hardcore Heroes Arcadia is. If you haven't caught the last episode of our Hardcore Heroes, the party split up. Um, Van Helsing, Kine, and a whole bunch of other people in the middle of town just kind of disappeared. And it appears a lot like the other vanishings that have happened south of the rivers. So those guys are gone, and here we have Malachi all by himself in Shirebrook, plus the other people in Shirebrook and the dwarf and whoever else is around. So we're going to be doing a separate campaign that focuses just on what Malachi is up to here in Arcadia. And with it comes a few changes. We're going to make a full switch to 2.N or 2. Neal or whatever we want to call the second edition heavily modified rule set that we've been using for our other shows, which means that Malachi gets a perception stat. We've just averaged his intelligence and wisdom to create his perception, because we thought it would be really weird if all of a sudden he rolled for perception and had 3 perception or had 18. It would just be bizarre.
perception. Interestingly enough, is now my second best stat at 13
Yes. Yes, it is.
by quite a margin, actually.
Yeah, 9s, 10s, 13, and 17.
Yeah.
And with this also comes non-weapon proficiencies, which we're going to do now before we get into Game 2 deeply. So, is there anything you want to talk about this last week before we actually hop into rule stuff? What have you been up to? Have you done anything?
Well,
other
my
than
girlfriend's been away on business for the past week in Germany, so I've been sat here on my own. So I've been watching a lot of films.
Anything good?
I watched. Well, I'm sure people have seen all of these films, but I saw Ex Machina. That was pretty cool. I like that. Have you seen that?
Nope. I don't even know what it's about.
It's about this guy who gets invited. He works for a tech company, and he wins a competition to go and stay with his CEO. The CEO lives in the middle of nowhere, and basically, the CEO guy is like, when he gets there, I've designed an artificial intelligence robot, and you're going to give it the Turing test. Like, you're going to speak to it every day and see if you can tell if it's real or not.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's some trickery and deceit in there, like when the power he's being watched the whole time he's having these interviews, and the power shuts down one time, so all the cameras go off, and then the robot says to him, like, you can't trust him, like he's not a nice guy, and then the power comes back on and everything's back to normal.
Oh shit!
That's pretty cool. I watched The Martian, which I thought was really, really good.
I loved that. That was really solid.
Yeah, really liked that. I watched The Imitation Game by Alan Turing. Well, it's based in Manchester. My maths building in Manchester Uni was called the Turing Building.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite cool. It was all sort of mildly linked around here. Let's see, what else? I watched that Birdman film.
How'd that go?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I mean, it was one of those acty films, where there's a lot of like sort of well acted stuff, but whether it actually makes an interesting story or not is something else. So yeah, pretty cool. Apart from that, let's get into it. Since there's no one else to ask, right?
Yeah, there's no one else to talk to. It's just you and me.
It's just me.
Yeah.
We need to do weapon proficiencies as well. Let's do that first.
Okay. So, weapon and non-weapon proficiencies.
Well, let's start with weapon. I think I only have 2 weapon proficiencies.
Right.
So I'm going to put this to you because from a game perspective, I've used 3 different types of weapons. I've used slings, staves, and daggers. But I can only have proficiency in 2 of them.
Yeah. Well,
now if it was up to me now, I'd choose staff and dagger because I don't really need my sling anymore. But sling's the one that I've used the most, so I'd say I should probably pick sling.
I feel like it should be sling and staff.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Sling and staff.
Yeah.
So I get like a minus 4 to use a dagger now.
5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you get +2 for level, I think. So.
Yeah. It's a shame because I've got these magical daggers, but never mind.
Or maybe you'll find a way to transfer the magic from the daggers into the sling.
Well, I think I'm going to use them to. Oh yeah, that was another cool idea I had, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Non-weapon proficiencies.
Yeah, so we're going to use our list, our 2-point Neal list of non-weapon proficiencies.
Oh, okay.
You guys can find it on regalgoblins.com underneath the toolbox if you want to follow along. I'm going to link the document to you directly here, Nick, so you don't have to
cool.
screw around.
The VIP treatment.
So anything with
Cool.
an X in it under wizard, you can learn for the listed number of proficiencies.
Anything
Otherwise,
else
it
is
takes
1
more. Yeah.
Okay.
So acting would take you 2, but administration would take you 1.
So I'm in the business of making sure that everything sort of lines up. So I'm at least going to take all the stuff that I think lines up with my specialized skills or whatever it was called. So let's work out how many I've got. Is it, I think, start with 4, gain 2, and then 6 more because of languages?
Yes.
So
yeah,
12.
You would have gained 1 at 3 and 1 at 6. You'll get another at 9, and then 6 for your languages and 4 for the start. That's a lot of. You should definitely take reading and writing.
Yes, that's definitely. Is that a 2 or a 1?
That's 1.
That's a 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's write that down.
For wizard, at least.
Yes. Okay, what else have I definitely got? I've definitely got swimming, right?
Yep.
Despite the one time I needed it.
Yep.
It not coming up. That's a 1 as well.
Yes.
Are they all 1? Oh no, it says here, right, slots, yeah.
And swimming is strength-based. Reading and writing doesn't have a check.
Oh, right, that's right, yeah. Strength-based, is it just strength?
Just strength.
0, so 10. Okay, what else? My other secondary, so is navigation, I think, would be one that I've got. Navigation.
Navigation requires seamanship.
Okay, well, I guess I've got that as well then.
Yeah, so seamanship keys off of wisdom or willpower, and you get it's your score +1. And navigation costs 1, and it keys off of intelligence, and it has a modifier of -2.
Okay, cool. Navigation, and that's not just for ships, though. Or is direction sense a different thing?
Navigation's like guiding yourself by the stars, and knowing how to. It's usually used for ships because on land it's not needed really. At sea, the only thing to guide yourself by is the stars, and on land, you can use landmarks and roads and maps and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it also encompasses using like a compass and a sextant and how to chart maps and stuff like that.
Okay, no, that's pretty cool. So my other was limner/painter. No, I don't see anything.
There are artistic ability.
So I guess I'll just take that.
Yeah.
Fits with
Ability
map
painter.
making. Well, limner was like making models, so I'm happy to go with just the artistic ability if that's all right.
I mean, it's artistic ability is any number of sub abilities. So you could take artistic ability in sculpting or in drawing or in musical composition.
Okay, well, given that now I've got, can I go with drawing then?
Sure.
No, that's a little bit better. Okay, so that's what? Wisdom flat, so it's going to be 10, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of everything, isn't it, that would be covered by my secondary skills.
Yeah.
So now we're on to stuff that I did a lot in the game that maybe has a proficiency tied to it.
So early game, you were expressing quite a bit of proper form and etiquette. Since then, you have been expressing it and actively going against it. So I feel like an etiquette proficiency is something that Malachi really
makes sense.
Yeah, something that he knows and chooses to use or not use.
All right, let's go with that then. Etiquette is charisma. It's probably
0. 10. Yeah.
So we're on 6. We've still got 6 more.
Oh dear God.
The problem is that I can't take any. It doesn't make sense now to know another language, does it? Definitely not.
No, but if you want to start learning other languages and you have the appropriate conversational partner, you can do that.
So I might do that. But
sure, but that won't cost a proficiency. You can do that separate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. What else is here? What about bureaucracy?
I guess you could have learned that.
Oh, cartography maybe? Would
kind of make cartography sense. Is pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for that. Cartography.
There's also things like mathematics, but I don't know. I mean, you're pretty smart, but I don't know if you'd have mathematics exactly.
No, I don't think so. Despite being a wizard, he's not all that bookish.
Yeah.
He kind of likes to be out on the road.
Mm-hmm.
What about...
Spellcraft is something you could take. I don't think you necessarily have to, but I think that's something that would be reasonable for Malachi to know by this point.
Spellcraft is knowing what a spell is when it's being cast.
Yeah, you make a spellcraft check when a spell gets cast, and you can try to determine what the spell is.
I mean, it makes sense to have that.
It's in 2 slots, and it's intelligence -2 for its check.
Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're on 9, so 3 more. I like the look of ancient history, if that's a thing.
Yeah, ancient history is a thing. You'd have to kind of have a subsection of ancient history.
Eridon? Or?
Yeah. So if you just want to do ancient history, Eridon, that'll be fine. And that'll be a general knowledge of the ancient history of Eridon.
What else could it be?
Well, you could do like ancient history wizardry, and you'd have a more specific knowledge of the great wizards that have come through this part of the world. Or you could do ancient history like lineage of kings and queens. And have
what about ancient history Curse of the Shadow Mountains?
I think you're working on that proficiency right now.
Yeah, I'll just make a check then. That's that solved.
All right, game over, guys. You figured it out.
Ancient history. Well, I remember speaking about this, that before Malachi went off adventuring, he was interested in collecting sort of artifacts is the wrong word in this setting because that generally means magic items, but I mean like, items of antiquity that may be rare. Would that come under ancient history Eridon, or maybe it's more like ancient history antiquity, or I don't know what else it would be.
Yeah, some sort of archaeology collector.
Collector, yeah.
Tomb Raider sort of Indiana Jones thing.
Yeah, right.
Term for that. Oh.
Archaeology sounds like a good term.
Sure, you can do archaeology. That'll be fine.
So I call it ancient history archaeology. Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
that's good.
And that's intelligence -1. Okay. 3, 4. I think 2 more. So bureaucracy would be 2. I felt you pull back on that. Do you not think?
Bureaucracy, that will work. It's just
What is it? Do you think it's useless?
I don't mind if you take useless things. It's just there have not been a lot of situations where I've seen Malachi work within bureaucracy, but you did apprentice under Rahana,
Yeah.
and your dad was a sailor for a lot of time, so you might be familiar with the ins and outs of getting formal approval on this thing, and I got to get a permit from this guy in order to dock my ship here, and
Yeah.
I could see it working.
Maybe riding would be a better one. I mean, I've never really used a horse, but it seems like something that I might have actually learned.
Yeah, either of those are good.
Undead law, probably can't take that.
No, I think you've only encountered undead like once or twice.
Torturing. These are all good, but don't really make much sense. I'll have a look at chat. Has anyone got any suggestions? Appraising. I feel like I can't take appraising because of the one time when I needed it. You said I didn't have it, so
Yeah, that's very much a van. No, none of you guys have appraising. Yeah.
no.
Could take underwater basket weaving.
Is that a thing?
Oh, weaving's a thing and swimming's a thing, so
Right. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Okay.
Religion, nah. What's
Yeah, bureaucracy might be the best one.
Prestidigitation?
Prestidigitation.
Yeah.
It's like contact magic or little effects that you can do with your hands. Like hiding a coin or flipping something around. It's pretty thiefy.
Paper making? Nah.
That's something you could have learned under Rohana, but you don't have to have taken that.
What will that in game? What will that get me?
Can
I make my own spellbook if I get paper making?
You'd need bookbinding and paper making to make your own spellbooks, and then you need the proper facilities to do so. But yeah, then you can make your own spellbooks.
Well, holy shit. I mean, that sounds pretty good. Bureaucracy gets me what? Knowledge of sort of the feudal system and what kind of forms I need to fill in to get certain things done.
Yeah, and just the knowledge of how everything works. If you want to do something, you understand where to go and who to talk to and how to get shit done in a world that is not always transparent.
See, I kind of like the idea of that.
It's a solid choice.
Yeah.
The world needs more bureaucrats. They're all dying off and being killed off. We need someone to replace them.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's about time somebody with some killing ability about bureaucracy. And it's intelligence too, so that's good.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Done.
So we've got weapon proficiencies, non-weapon proficiencies. We've got your new stat.
Yep. I'm going to re-roll all my HP. Let's just see what I'd get, just for the sake of argument. Oh. I reckon it's going to be 21. 17. It's better, but never mind. I wonder how many times I'd have to roll to get worse. Oh my god. That's the same.
There you go.
That's
pretty bad, though.
Yeah, that is quite bad. All right, is that everything?
I think that's everything we need to do to update to the new rule system. Is there anything else? Not that I can think of. We might come up with something along the way, in which case we'll just pause and deal with that. But I don't think that'll be an issue going forward. So
there's no changes to any spells or anything.
Mm-mm.
going into 2.0
Oh, we're going to be using spell components. Yeah.
Let's talk about that then. I mean, are we assuming that I've got what 5 casts of every level 1 spell, 4 of every level 2, 3 of every level 3, and
Are there? Let's only continue to worry about things that have odd components, right? If something requires a live spider and you have some general downtime, we can just say in that general downtime you find spiders.
yeah. I mean,
You know,
I'm not used to looking at the components though. So what I mean is, can we assume that I've got like 1 or 2 castings of anything that I might need?
let's take a look at the spells that you do have and see if any of them have any outlandish components.
While we're on here, you might want to. I think this. Did you ever add all the ones
Oh
that I?
no, I didn't. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah,
Worst
so there is
DM
some.
ever.
There is some missing. Oh, we
Yeah.
should mention the spell limits per level as well.
Oh yes. You want to mention that?
Yeah, so obviously, how many spells you can know per level is an optional rule. So when we were doing it by the book, we weren't using that. So I am well over my limit on level 1 spells and slightly over on level 2 spells.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna hand wave that rule and say it doesn't exist in 2.0.
Yep, we're gonna modify it so that's no longer a thing.
So there you
That
go.
our rules can all work together. Our worlds are not ridiculously dumb. What were your new spells again? You send them to me? I think you did.
I did. Wes worked it out for me.
Scroll, got a scroll.
I don't know. For maybe it's in that. You got it?
Nope.
No, sorry, Neal. It's open to one.
No idea where these are. Someone else has a list of your spell books.
Yep. Wes did it for me.
Yeah, but that's a list of your spell books, not a list of the spells you currently have memorized. I mean, it might have the spells you have memorized there, but I need to know which ones aren't in your list already, and comparing them is too difficult.
Yeah, I mean that's what he'd done originally. I mean, if we scroll back in our Discord chat, Neal, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I did
I'm just not sure which Discord chat it's in.
It'll be in our private message.
Okay, our PMs.
There we go. I've got it.
Okay.
I think
Paste.
that's it.
Those are the new ones that you've got?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a reduced list of spells, so I figured that that's what that is.
You didn't learn this many spells in the last episode, did you?
No, there's just been some missing.
Jesus Christ, this many are missing?
I think so. Let's check. Yeah, armor's not on there. Yeah, this is the list. I've kept my own list on my own character sheet, so it's never been that.
Oh, okay, cool. So you've never been
me.
pulling off the...
Yeah.
Oh dear God. Okay, this is a lot of spells.
Exactly. I mean, it's only for chat. I'm not. It doesn't affect me.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do it anyway because I like having a list of your spells, so I know how to
Go
screw
ahead.
you over by giving you things that you don't have spell solutions for. I don't actually do that. For those of you that are about to call DM hacks, that was a
I
joke.
don't know. I'll reserve judgment on that.
So, where you want to recap where you are right now? What happened last episode?
So
while I
what
get
happened?
these going?
Where did we start off last episode? Can you remember? I can only really remember the end of the last episode.
Yeah. You were...
We were in Shirebrook, and we were about to make the journey to Stromheim, I think.
Yes. I think that's actually where we left off, is you were just heading to Stromheim.
Because we were going to go in... Oh, right. No, we were going to Newfort, weren't we? Right, that's it. We just got back to just got back to Shirebrook from Redport, and then we heard that Count Ironhide wanted to see us because, well, we think he was a little bit upset about us skipping town. So we started the episode off. We sort of tied off some loose ends, and then hired a carriage and travelled over to Newfort, getting all paranoid, getting ourselves in a right twist, thinking that we were going to have to kill this guy. But by the time we got there, Van did an excellent job of conveying our story without any contradictions. And whilst disappointed that we had not captured Tyrus, we did manage to convince the Count that we did intend to and just failed. So he let us go. We returned to Shirebrook. And we spent a nice day there. And we decided that in the morning we were all going to leave and send take Jeeves to Tassel for his retirement. So I retired to my room, expecting to meet Van, Jeeves, and Kine in front of the Half Pint. First thing in the morning at sunrise to say goodbye to Jeeves, because I was gonna hang back in town to wait for Venlin to see how this Baron thing gone. Yeah, I forgot to mention the Baron did up and leave, left a note recommending me as a successor, although it wasn't as straightforward as that. I tried to walk into the keep, but Angus Landslide said that as soon as you abdicate, you no longer have the authority to nominate your successor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a bureaucrat, that's something I can understand.
That proficiency's paying off already. That's great.
Yeah. So, morning comes around, and there's a thick cloud of fog or mist covering the town. You know, I don't think too much of it. Wander through, although suddenly a chill strikes me, and the mist seems to get thicker. And I look around and realize I don't see anyone. Sort of this feeling in my chest of deja vu building. I hurriedly walk towards the Half Pint and bust the door open, only to go in and find the place completely deserted. Not a plate out of sight, not a table tipped over, not a chair tipped over. It looks very much like everyone's just up and disappeared. In a panic, I ran around to Van's temple to find Frederick, saying that he just left. I went to the Storybrooke Inn where Kine was, but everyone there was gone as well. In fact, it looked like, what would you say, about 100-foot radius?
Couple 100 feet radius?
Couple of 100 feet radius of the town has just had everyone disappeared. Obviously, I didn't check every house, but at least the Half Pint, the Storybrooke Inn, the Dragon's Den, a bunch of taverns in the center of town, the main temple, so Mother Elise, presumably Father Owen, are all gone. Having checked everywhere that I thought to go, I headed to the keep to discuss with Landslide. I was ready for a fight, not a physical fight, but I was expecting to have to convince him to let me help. And he very quickly agreed that I was right. He documented me telling everyone that this was going to happen, so he seemed to actually rescind a bit of respect and started deferring to me on decisions on how we should manage this crisis. Mm-hmm. So I then decided to take the reins of power with both hands and quickly set about my executive orders as the new acting Baron. So I signed an executive order to have Tyrus returned. So I sent my guard off to Redport to retrieve Tyrus. I put the word out that Sturge was needed back in town, so people are out looking for Sturge. I signed another executive order to sell all of the spare houses to any rich refugees that are remaining, which I think is a good one.
Pretty solid.
I'm not sure how that's going yet, but I might need to reserve a few houses for all the people that I need to bring in. Is that all of the executive orders that I had?
I think so. Look for Sturge, look for Tyrus, sell the houses, collect all the information pertaining to the events this morning.
Oh yeah, we interviewed all of the townspeople. We spoke to a homeless guy who'd seen the people basically be there 1 minute and the next fade into the
mist. Yeah.
But it didn't look like they were walking away into the mist. It just looked like they
just kind of vanished.
This music's a little bit like Phantasy Star or Final Fantasy or maybe Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. It's the tabletop audio track Weirder Things.
Oh, okay.
Which is Stranger Things inspired. I figured it was appropriate for what's going on here.
Yeah, so to come where we are now, I think the end of that day is approaching. Malachi's been running around town like a headless chicken, adrenaline coursing through his veins, trying to work out what's happened, to try and find his friends. And we come into the game as I walk into Aldrich's tower, close the door behind me, like heavily trudge up the stairs, exhausted by the day's events, and collapse onto a chair in Aldrich's study. And as I sit there, I think about my friends missing, about Van, and I keep thinking of this pile of skulls that I've seen in this cave I've scried upon.
Yeah.
And I think deep down, I think Malachi thinks that both Van and Kine and Mother Elise and Father Owen and everyone left in the town is probably already dead. But I owe it to them to try and work out what happened, so I'm not going to give up hope yet. And as I scan across the room, my eyes settle on a pool of, well, what was once a pool of blood on Aldrich's floor after I brutally murdered him. And I sit there staring at this result of my deeds and turn back to Aldrich's library and begin spending the night in research.
All right, what are you researching?
So I think anything to do with plane shifting or the Curse of the Shadow Mountains, those two topics.
Why are you interested in plane shifting?
Because I believe that it's a shadow dragon, and the clues we've had, when Van cast detect emotion or thought capture in Kine's village, he had a vision of a person being in what he said, he described it as like a foggy mist, but not a mist, like kind of just like dull and grey and not being able to see far in any direction.
Interesting.
But that was obviously one of the people that had been taken by whatever this thing is. So to me that sounds like, and then we went and explained that vision to Rohanna, who described similar to what she saw when she read Georg's mind, when she first heard about what she called the Lich's phylactery. So there's some sort of weird connection there. I think on one hand, Malachi thinks that maybe they're on a different plane, but then on another, maybe it was just some sort of mass teleport into this thing's lair, which I still believe is in the Shadow Mountains.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So you start looking through Aldrich's library, and there's nothing explicitly on the Shadow Mountains.
Yeah.
But there are books that have passages that will relate to them. But it'll be a process of going through the whole library. You know, you're reading this book about Shirebrook, and you got to kind of read through it to find the passage that might touch on the Shadow Mountains, because it's not going to be a whole chapter in the book, right? So that'll be an ongoing project to better familiarize yourself with this legend and these weird things that are going on there.
So it's slow going.
Yeah, so is there anything particular task? Do you just want to read all the books and we can just skip forward a couple of weeks until you've read all the books?
No, I have stuff to do tomorrow. This is just that night.
All right.
Yeah.
So you kill the day. Why don't we actually go towards the end of that day then? When Angus Landslide brings you to or calls you down into the main hall.
Okay.
There have been gathered a whole bunch of people that are witness accounts of what was going on there, and they proceed to give you guys their accounts. Where are no? So a whole bunch of people corroborate that one homeless guy's vision of what he saw. A bunch of people agree that that's what seems to happen. That is what happened. Also, you get a pretty good measure of how big of an area the disappearing thing was, and based on what people have said and your knowledge of the town, it seems to be that same radius, that same couple 100-yard radius that snagged people the first few times.
So I was going to say, every time I've detected that magic, it's always been the exact same size.
Yeah, I mean, you're eyeing these things, so let's not say exact same, but roughly the same size. Yeah, and this appears to be roughly that same couple 100 yards across.
Okay.
Kind kind of everyone vanished. What else did you want to inquire to?
I want to know how many people are gone. And I want to know what notable NPCs are left. But whether I ask this of this crowd of people that have been gathered or have just worked it out through the day from, going
Sure.
to check in on people.
So the notable NPCs that left is probably going to be easier to do. Mother Elise is gone. Father Owen is not. He's still around. He's now the highest ranking cleric in town.
Oh, okay,
Um,
definitely need to go and talk to him then.
yep. He's been gathered here as well. You can speak to him here. The 2 town guards disappeared, where they were probably doing a patrol through that area when everything vanished. And all the people in the Storybrooke Inn are gone. And the Storybrooke Inn happened to be filled with the nobles and knights that lived south of the rivers, whose
Yeah.
people abandoned and fled. And they have can't come into town because they don't want to live outside in the woods by themselves anymore. So they were all in town. So there's a few nobles, a couple of families, and a couple of knights who were in there that just vanished with them. But that leaves plenty of people here. Most of the noble families that live in Shirebrook are all here. Those that live north of the rivers are still around because they weren't in town at the time. So most of the nobles are still here. You've got Father Owen. You've got a few other clerics. Where are their names?
Did Twin Tower leave with his family?
Yep, he and his wife booked it.
Okay.
The other nobles. Brother Loris. He's now Father Loris. He's still around, and I guess Brother Frederick is still around too. They're not too important.
Are they level 1 cleric? Like, are they clerics or are they not? Are they just priesthood?
Brother and sister are priests.
Oh, okay.
Father and mother are clerics. Rohana's still around, of course. Let's see. None of the smiths or jewelers were taken. Maybe some of the jewelers, because they were in the main market square. Um,
Well, if the jewelers are gone, does that mean their shops are empty? Like, currently unutilized plethoras of gems.
yes. Well,
Right.
they were earlier in the day.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That is going to
With
be...
all the refugees and all the confusion going on, a few people had that idea already, and their shops have been ransacked and looted.
But there must have been a lot of wealth in that, right?
Yep.
Like thousands of gold, right?
Yep. A lot of looting has occurred. Lots and lots of looting. All the buildings that have been abandoned have been looted by the swarms of starving people who just need some money to get by.
Looks like we found ourselves a task.
Yes. Yeah. So you can ask any questions of the people assembled if you have anything you'd like to ask of them, or we can go on to the next day.
Well, I defer to Landslide. Does he have anything? What's the right word? Motivational to say to all these people?
No. He seems like not the sort of person to try and motivate people. He's more of a, collecting information and then dispensing orders and not giving a shit about how people feel about the things that he's issuing.
Okay.
He's a
So
no-nonsense, straight-to-business sort of guy.
I'll ask him in front of everyone then. Angus, since you represent the Count here, what will be done of this? Have you sent message to our liege?
Of course. I've already sent off word by horseback. Let them know what's going on.
And what did you recommend to him?
I made no recommendations. Just word that a great horror had befallen the town, detailing it, and a note that we have useful people on hand that are experienced with this matter and will help us oversee it.
Okay, well, that sounds fair. Father Owen, would you care to say anything, since I believe you now represent the clergy in this town?
The 54-year-old man bows his head and slowly shakes it back and forth and says, "Oh, I believe there's only one person who could be responsible for these horrors that we've seen. I've been telling you
And that
people for
is.
years and years, the only true way to salvation in this world is by embracing a stare, and look what you've done. This flagrant disregard for law and order has caused the rise of dark clerics of Malchus, or some servants of his in one form or another to cause this sort of mess."
Do you believe that this could be the work of Malchus directly?
Directly?
I don't know if you do much stargazing, Father Owen, but Malchus's, well,
Hmm.
my friend Van is the expert, but I gather his stars are missing from the night sky.
Yes, yes. It is possible, although unlikely. The gods have not vanished from the sky in very long, long time.
Tell me, do you have any way of speaking to gods that aren't astir?
I am closest with he. The others, it is not so direct as knocking on someone's door and asking a few questions.
Evidently. I don't suppose Astar is good friends with Cheese?
I wouldn't categorize any of the gods' friendships as friends, or relationships as friends. Uh, do you have some
Well,
particular...
if you'd not noticed, my friend Van Helsing has disappeared along with everyone else.
Yes, a great loss for the community.
Well, I feel if anyone's watching him, it should be Cheese. Maybe she knows something about what's happened.
Hmm. I suppose all the gods would, but that sort of dialogue is not possible. They are beings of a divine nature, and sort of communication does not happen.
What good is all our knowledge if we can't access it?
Blasphemy! Without them, you would not be standing where you are today. If not for...
I apologize, Father Owen. Please, we're all feeling quite heated here. I apologize.
The 6'6" cleric takes a few steps back and folds his hands in his robes and mutters to
6'6".
himself. Yeah, he's tall.
Okay. Father Owen, I don't have any particular need of you right now, but would you be prepared to help me in my investigations as time moves on?
We must all band together. It is the very nature of Astaire that we work in order and work together. It is good to see you finally come into the fold, young man.
Indeed. Well, I think strong law and order is what we'll need here if we are to rise from these ashes.
Excellent, yes. Law and order are the only things that will save us in this dark hour.
I start speaking and give a look to Landslide like, should I stop? Am I out of time? But continue and say, noble families of Shirebrook, I'm sure you all realize the seriousness of this situation, and you also realize the position we found ourselves in recently is a dire one. It pains me to come to you cap in hand, but the treasury is bare, and many of you have wealth stashed away for generations. I can only promise you that the will of the town would be to pay you back every penny, but if ever this town needed you, it's now, and anything you can spare would be of great help.
One of these noble family representatives steps up and says, "What are you asking? That we empty our pockets and hand it over to you? A lowly
not
commoner?"
Not to me, but to the town, to the treasury. Landslide here will make sure it's only used in the best way. How's about this, sir? Who is this guy talking to me?
Where's the family name? This is... This would be Lord Sashbra.
Lord Sashbra.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? For every gold coin you can pledge, I will match this.
He's silent for a moment, then slowly gives you a nod.
I turn to the other families and say, whilst my own coffers are limited to an extent, I will extend this offer. You will not be alone in your generosity. A show of good faith.
Lord Sashbra speaks up again. As long as Angus Landslide here is overseeing the coffers, fine.
I can assure you that I have nothing but the rightful law and order of this town at my heart of my interests. Father Owen.
Okay.
Very well. I shall leave this collection basket here. I must return to my studies, but should any of you require any assistance, please do not hesitate to knock on my door, and I will be much more forthcoming than the previous inhabitants of said tower.
One of the other nobles speaks up, saying, "Am I right in that you're taking Aldrich's place?
For now,
are you the new Arc Wizard in town?"
Well, Baron Twin Tower, however short-lived, had recommended me for his replacement, but that is obviously a decision for the Count, for the Queen. Look, it's not my...
Unbelievable! Unspeakable! Nonsense!
Well,
son of a merchant becoming Baron?
There's more to life than titles and how you were born. But...
Of course he would say that.
By the will of the law of the land, the will of the gods, I'm sure the right man will take his seat on that chair, I say, motioning towards the throne. Now, if you will, I must return to my studies, but like I said, I intend to fill Aldrich's role and more. If you have any questions or require guidance, my door is always open. I'm happy to help in any way I can. If any of you have strong sons who can fight, I would be interested to speak to them.
There's a muttering that goes through the crowd. Someone speaks up and says, "And what do you plan to do with these sons and this money? Raise an army?"
That remains to be seen. That is a possibility. First, we must work out what it is we are dealing with. Is this the work of Malchus himself, in which case all the swords in the land probably aren't going to help? Or is this, as I have suspected for some time, the work of some foul beast living in the mountains? If it is a beast, then perhaps we can take action and slay it before more lives are lost.
A low grumble rumbles through the crowd, but no one speaks up again.
Turn and nod to Landslide, like, went alright.
You can make your exit as Landslide continues to talk about nuts and bolts of things that are not interesting to us right now.
I walk up to the collection box and take a large handful of gold and pour it in, like maybe somewhere between 50 and 100 gold.
Alright, you want to roll me d50 plus 50?
Yes. 95 gold.
Alright. Dump 95 gold into some box.
Yeah. Get the party going. It's all going to be mine eventually.
Alright. And, you know what? I know it's a little bit short for our first segment, but why don't we go to break right now? And when we come back from break, Malachi, you're going to be doing what?
When we come back, I will be taking stock of all of the fighting men. And I will be... I don't know. I need to give it some thought.
All right. We'll see you guys on the other side of our break. Bye-bye.